Hello traders, this is Alex with the COTlive.com website. We're going to do a little research with the master chart, which is this one right here. The master chart program, which I use a lot, obviously. I put a few videos out there. But we're going to go review Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a little different. I kind of merged the futures with my Bitcoin chart, so it takes out the weekends, so which I had to do. But anyway, still relevant, right? This is the master chart program, the Excel master chart, the Gann program. Again, inputs, the master chart program, the odd squares, even squares, the square of 9, right? So, if you plug in 0 in the center cell, again, even squares, odd squares, and all the other angles based off of that, right? So, now, of course, you plug in a date as well, even squares, odd squares, so on and so forth. So the mathematics are still the same. It's just a little different inputs. And what I did, the inputs, I kind of put these over here just so you could see them. But these are the inputs off of the chart, the Bitcoin chart. Taking all these major highs, major lows. Now, I should have added the pivots. I did not. I took these two highs. I should have taken this pivot. I did not. So that's where the data is derived from. This right here. And I also included, just for a little spice of life, I also included this part of the master chart program, which is the doubling effect. I took the square root of the low that I could find. Let me pull it up. I think, Google, gave it July 4th, recorded low of $72 on Bitcoin. I know it's been lower than that, but that's, Google's gospel, right? Not. But anyway, I used that data point in there, and I took the square root, 72. The square root of that is 15. I plugged that date in, though, right? So the square root breaks it down a little bit more. And then I also included the down, this master chart down, and the date, all-time high date was November 10th, 2021. It's 68,901. I put that in the center cell, and I did it on a quarter speed. Again, that projected out to 2069, right? So that this will match up, just the math thing. So I included that into the price structure as well. And let me see, anything else? Nope, that's all of the inputs. Now on this thing, anytime you plug something in, it keeps it in the search history. Even if you make a mistake, right? I like to keep track of everything that I plug in. And the program automatically does that every time you click a button, right? So that's the inputs of that, and we're going to run these data into this program, and it spits it out. Every time you run the data, you save dates to, well, first, you reset it. Save the dates to the research, which is this folder right here. Again, here's your square root. Here's your squaring down from the high. And these are all the other data points and all the dates accordingly. And then once you're done with all the inputs, then you begin the advanced search, and that puts it over here. It takes a little bit, a minute, maybe two. We didn't have a whole lot of data points. Sometimes you can have 20 some data points, and because Bitcoin hasn't been around that long compared to some of the other stuff. So other markets, commodities, and stocks. And then you click this, it'll sort it by the year that you plug in right here, right? I wanted to go back at least to 2022, and this is so we're going to kind of go from near the low. We'll go back to July, and I'll plot these on the chart. Again, I'm looking for more of accumulation, and what I did is I plotted a blue little dot if there's only one on that date. Again, there's not a whole lot of data points here compared to some of the other stuff I researched. So let's walk through it and see, how it performed. We're going to go back to around 1st of July. Let me see. Let me see if I can get this all on a one page here so you can see the dates. Yeah, this is kind of where I started, and this is the data points here, and again, anything red is got more than one, and the blue dots is just one only. Now that doesn't mean it's not significant, right? I don't want to confuse the fact. I am personally looking for more of the accumulation. If you're a day trader, you focus on all these dates and also the voids, right? If you're a trender, where there is no data points, the market has no resistance. So the market can tend to move a little bit. I'm not a big Bitcoin trader. They do have futures now. So they also have micro futures. Again, I'm a leverage, as a commodity guy, right? I'm a leverage guy. But I'm going to focus more on the Bitcoin actual, just because that's how most people are probably trading it. And some people invest in it, right, which is not trading, right? They try to buy big dips, and if you're an investor, you look for these areas of accumulation and add a few more Bitcoin, right? You trade it. If you got $200 a month you're putting into a program, you accumulate money, funds, and you try to find these areas and you buy Bitcoin accordingly in your crypto account, your wallet or whatever you got set up, Coinbase or whatever else, right? So we'll go through this data. Again, this is the data that was spit out from the Masterchart program, and I'll quickly go review this, day by day. And you can see these data points. Obviously, I would be focusing on these. Understanding, right, that like this day here, we did have a day after a void. If you're a stop trader, you'd be definitely looking at, being a little, since you have profits, right, finding that area. And that would be your area of stoppage. Again, so we had 3 there, couple there, coming off some type of high, gathering a little strength. I made a new high, but we knew that there was 2 of them here, right? So, and then it closed crappy. So the day traders would have been since you knew there was 2 there, right? You might pick a high up in here. And again, I'm not a day trader, and everybody's, you fire up your day trading program, whatever it is, maybe a little more aggressive, right? A little more cash involved or whatever. Right? Again, there's so many things out there how to trade. This was an outside down day. We did have a little blip there. Again, we knew there was two coming in here after a big smash. So you'd have been watching this area again, watch the open. It did take that out, and we did have an outside day up with no timing. So definitely could have bought a new low here. Just, again, the low here was 28.15 and 27.95. So I took it out just by a little bit. We had a couple more here, and then poof, made new lows. So it was a minor blip. Got aggressive. Again, the overall trend is down, right? So, you follow the trend, and now traders can be contrarian. Long term, you're looking for, since the trend is down, right, you'd be looking for these for a sell and maybe get out of partial positions or buy calls if you can, if you're set up to do that, and then trade accordingly, right? So we had a couple timing in here and another new low after a pennant, right? Chart patterns, if you're that kind of guy, that kind of trader. We did have a couple in here, right? So I would have maybe, as a trader, I guess I would be buying, new lows. I don't know what the risk parameters are. That's the problem with day trading. You got to be pretty rigid on your risk parameters. It did have a good bounce, about an equal leg as what it fell, right? So, getting close to halfway back. Had a little timing here. So again, if you bought this, you as a short-term trader, right? Not a day trader, but guy that's in there 2, 3, 4 days, would have probably taken that off on the close. Again, another day down. We knew when this day came on that we knew we had two timings coming in, right here. We had two of them coming in. So, again, you sell a new high maybe, or get out, right? If you're long only and you don't like to go short, take your profits and sit on the sidelines till you get the next buy. If you're a trader, you might have sold it up there. Again, I don't know what the risk parameters are in day trading. We had a couple more coming in here. With this one right here, it made a lower high and a lower low and a lower close. It opened lower, so the next day will be pretty important. It did make a lower low and a lower close again, so obviously trend down. Now we knew there was three coming in here, right? On this day, we knew there was three master chart timing sequences coming in. So you're looking for something. Well, a trader might have bought it here and got hammered, right? The longer term guys are looking at this swing low as a, again, predator in the weeds, right? You're looking for where the stops are. Well, the stops aren't probably going to be here. The stops are going to be here. We had three timing coming in. Now, again, it didn't really accelerate. Again, I'm an acceleration guy. When something fails to accelerate and you have good timing, you got a good pop off the low, you have a bear trap, I would expect this day not to be a neutral, outside event, right? So I'd have been a little concerned. Now we had three more coming in here on an inside day. We knew that ahead of time, right? No. You wouldn't have got anything done unless you bought something intraday. It did pop up, but it closed like crap. But the next day, it did not follow through. It should have closed lower if that was ugly, right? So Again, more neutral than anything. We had 3 more coming in here with the single. Again, action is sideways. You follow the trend. Well, what is the trend? Well, the trend is a chop, right? So you put that in your memory banks, and you're waiting for the next major zone. Now, again, we have 2, 3, 2 in kind of the middle, 3, 3. You accumulate that in your mind, and that's a potential bottom, right? Some type of rounding pattern, whatever. 2 more here. Now, again, where are the stops, right? Well, we've already taken that day out. We've already taken that day out. Really, the only one to get is this one down here, the September 22nd low. With any, it doesn't have to do that, right? Because we've already stopped it out once. So, but you keep that in the back of your mind for sure. We had 1 bar coming in, or 1 time come in here. Well, sure enough, it did take that out, and had a big reversal and closed higher. It didn't have the big fade like it did here on this bar or this bar, right? It actually closed higher than the previous 2 days. So that's on no timing. So a little suspect. We had 2 coming in here. It had a crappy close. Again, no follow through, which is concerning. 2 more come in and a reversal down again. So the pressure is definitely leaning to the downside until proven otherwise. We kind of relieve that downward pressure with the reversal here on timing. And it did take it out, probably took out the downtrend line. We haven't taken out this swing yet. Again, where are the stops? Well, they're going to be above here for sure. All right, sure enough, we took that out. We had a couple more coming in here. Again, it appears that these accumulation periods did cause a bottom. Pretty tricky, right? But choppy markets always are. And we had 3 here coming in, right? We knew that ahead of time. So we knew that they were probably going after these stops, right? Or maybe these stops. So now it depends on what it does. Let me see. This is November 4th. Here's the date up here, by the way. And then kaboosh. We took out, that 3 accumulation was a high. Now, you didn't really know that. Again, we had an inside day here. So, again, you'd definitely be thinking a caution, warning, 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 be careful. Again, because we had we tripped out the stops, right? It got the job done. And down we went and actually took out the whole bloomin' deal here. So, and we didn't close a new low. So again, maybe a little warning sign that it's just stopped getting event. But that's a big bar, almost equal to the whole leg up over here. So, this took 3 days and let's call it 3.5 days. This only took 2.5 days. So again, the market's definitely still in a chop. If we'd have closed lower, I could have said, oh, maybe it's, something bigger is happening. But right now you don't know. You got to assume it's just chopping yet. Another day down, though. It did open higher and got absolutely smucked. So now the blood is on the streets. Now traders, if you'd have bought something, or hopefully you used stops and you got knocked out, took a loss, right? Because again, I had no timing in here though for me, right? So I wasn't looking for anything to be a day trader on, or we're still working off of this 2 and 3 period up here. Another void. We got singles down here. Now, again, we knew ahead of time that we had a double coming up. So it kind of punched out a few of the minor stops. It still closed lower. So at minimum, you'd have probably been looking at buying strength to confirm this. but it's a dud. We got definitely a pennant pattern forming. Took out the pennant and closed lower. Stops we know are here. And I think here too, right? That's a 1 day area. So this day is until we knock this out. This big day's range is where the range is for all this. Now we had, again, 3 coming up with some singles. Did close lower, so the opening will be pretty key. And again, in the back of your mind, you know that the big stops are down here where the large volume of trade will be, and probably again up here. Now I didn't get hammered, right? Now again, if you don't have timing or don't look at timing, you'd have thought, well, that's made a higher high. So, but since you knew there was timing here, you respect this. If you're a bear, right, you definitely have stops maybe right here, right? It did go up. It took out the pennant. It didn't have the muster, the momentum, the angst to take this out yet. Maybe it will later, but right now we know that this bottom is in place. We did have 2 coming up here. It did take out this high. So again, as a trader goes, you might have taken, if you did buy this down in here, but you'd have probably been a quick, short-term trader, would have got out in a couple days. We had another one here, again a reversal down, closing lower, again popping out these minor stops. Again, this is the major area yet, this 18,600. We're getting up close to that. Kind of failed right here to do it and close lower again. Now again, we knew we had 4 coming up, right? So that catches my eye as a trader, as a trend trader. Kind of closed lower, open higher, closed lower, a lower high, lower low. Trend is definitely down. Gann used a 2-day trend line indicator, so he would have definitely been out of his longs and maybe short here. We had an outside day, so again, that level gave you an opportunity maybe to do a trade. Kind of a sucky day there. If you did buy this, you'd be a little concerned. Another double, single. We're on January 3rd, so this is the first day of the year. Made a low at the, kind of a little pivot area at the last day of the year. All right, we finally took this area out. This 1 day, it took, what, a month and a half, finally took that out, right? So that's finally, in 1 day's range, it took 30 plus days to finally knock it out. No timing here. We had a couple here, so you didn't know. You just knew you had 2 coming up. So if you were a trader, you might have sold it here and then got stopped out more than likely if you use stops, right? So that'd have been a loser. And that tells you something though, right? We've broken the resistance, broken not only this day, but this swing of the intra swings. And with timing, it did close higher, so that's kind of friendly, right? The least path resistance is to the upside, and we know that probably this swing is where the major league stops are and where the fuel is going to be. Well, we took it out the next day. Wow. So that's a big gap. Now again, this is futures, right? So it has gaps. And it isn't like the Bitcoin that trades over the weekend on the charts. So I like that a little bit, right? Because I don't sit there in front of my computer 24 hours a day, right? So I'm here most of the day on the weekdays. So I'm used to it, right, with all the commodities and stocks that I might trade. Outside day, but no timing. So we had one here, right? So a trader could have maybe traded it, but a little bear trap took out this area resistance. I'm not outside days to me, and inside days are neutral days, right? In my book. Well, let me back up. Outside day, inside day, and closing higher. Well, it should, if this is a big key reversal, we would have followed through to the downside. This inside day is an alert. Again, I've been doing this for 4 decades, trading the markets. That doesn't seem right to me. You had them on the ropes, the shorts, or the long, excuse me. You had them on the ropes. It should have just blown them out, at least filled the gap, right? Instead, it went up on timing. So, the inside day rule. I don't know if you trade inside days. I like inside days because if you have timing, you can buy it on a stop, sell it on a stop. If it breaks out that range, the odds, I don't know what they are, but they're pretty small of having another outside day. I mean, it happens, right? But it's much more, usually you take that in the direction of the trend typically, right? You don't try to fight the longer term trend if you don't know. So the long-term trend is definitely up. All the things that we went through, broken the pivot, broken the chop. Nothing, void day on a gap. Now we had 3 coming in here. Now again, I cheated a little bit when I prepped this chart and marked it here, right? So it's probably telling you it's going to go up. But this day, after a gap, broken out all this stuff, definitely told me to, be a little careful. I mean, you might try to sell it up here. If you do, you got to use stops. It did pop it out and an outside event. It closed, the close was inside that inside day. So to me, this is neutral. We had an inside day, which of course is always neutral. And this outside day is neutral. If it's real negative, you'd close down here on the low. Another inside event, no timing on the outside or this inside. Another outside. Again, one of the rules I just said it usually doesn't do, just did it. But again, trend lines, moving averages, RSIs maybe might have been overbought, but the other trend following stuff, would have been okay. Now we had another outside event. So we had a inside, outside, inside, outside, outside. What does that say? To me, that says chop. The trend is nowhere for the last 5 days. So expect the unexpected. Running stops on both sides makes sense. We had a minor day here, another inside event. Now it didn't take out this low, which is interesting, right? Why wouldn't it? You knew the stops were here, minimum, right? And down here for sure. So now we had a minor here, down on nothing. Now we had 3 of them coming up. Of course, trend lines, you got to be a little suspect here, right? That you're waiting for something to happen. And this minor event, again, we know the stops are here. It broke this uptrend line that, kind of slowed, sped up, slowed down. So at minimum, you're looking for some type of correction, even if you're a bull, right? But we had 3 of them coming in here, and you knew that ahead of time, right? So the gap down was a little concerning, but it reversed back up, neutralized it. But again, another outside down day. So we had an inside, outside, outside. We're kind of getting down there where we know it's going to start plugging some stops. And sure enough, it did on a void day, right? There's no support or resistance. Markets tend to have big days on those. Another void. We had a minor here, still closed lower, but the opening will be key. You know, that pushed out these 2-day highs. There's your correction, right? If you're a swing type trader, you might have bought this area, maybe on a stop here and maybe risking this point. We had a couple days coming in. It did have a big day up with follow through on the void day, and it did close in new highs. Now we had 3 of them coming up there, right? We knew that ahead of time. So you're thinking in the back of your mind, be a little cautious here. Just, you wouldn't buy this up here, right? Now you might not sell it either, but you definitely wouldn't buy strength with a 3 timing coming in and the bear trap, and definitely might have thought about taking some profits. We did take out that high, I believe. 253.40, 253.30. It did not. I missed it by a tick. So $10. So again, closing lower on the deal. Definitely caution. Definitely, if you're a stop guy, you'd have stops here, which along with everybody else. It did take that out on the next timing. That's interesting. Look, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 void days. It chopped and broke out of that bottom end of it. And again, we know that the mega stops are here, right? So the mega stops up here. This is the first of the month. This is the March 2nd, March 1st. So this is the end of the month going into the new month. We knew ahead of time there was 4 of them coming up. So, you know, on a minor inside day, that's pretty interesting, right? I mean, we knew that ahead of time. You know, it might tempt you to buy this. You know, again, I would probably buy new lows, right? But if you do, you got to have stops under here, or whatever you use. And I probably wouldn't buy it unless we took out the, you know, draw a trend line in or something, right? You just don't guess. The trend is definitely down, short term. Still probably long on the up term, and definitely still long on the swing chart. A minor one here did make new lows, a little concerning. Another one did not. It made new lows but closed higher, and there it took out that major pivot, which again, that's what you'd expect, right? Since the trend is down, you know, especially since you had the 4 timing here and the singles just didn't have any bounce, right? So now again, that bank announcement came in here. This is the 10th. Now again, the Bitcoin traded on the weekend, and this, you know, didn't, right? Because it's, you know, this trades on Sunday night. So, you know, left a gap, which is interesting, right? Took the downtrend out. You know, this was a void day. This was a void day. And this is the 14th today. Today is Tuesday, the 14th. And we got a couple timing coming in, and tomorrow, you know, we got major stops here. We already ran the stops out here, plundered them, right? But no follow through, did not accelerate, is what you'd expect. You know, I don't know what the Fed's doing. It's just a cluster bomb there. The Fed is just causing its own. I think they're causing volatility, to be honest with you. I don't know why they do what they do. I'm not a politician in that space for sure, but my conspiracy antennas are on high alert. But anyway, you got your mega stops will be up here. The risks are getting a little large, right? So I don't know how you trade this. Now, day trading maybe is fine. You know, program trading. but I wouldn't do much here today. I'd wait and see what it did tomorrow. If it ran these stops out, you might be a seller or a picker. You know, pickers aren't really successful except for if they have it programmed. And we have a couple singles here. So anyway, that's the Bitcoin. I haven't looked at that before, so I'm doing it along with you. And this is the inputs that the again, all that dates, and these are all the times. So, and we're doing it from the master chart down, again, which is this one, plugging in these dates and going down. Again, so it gets faster. Again, because when you're plotting it, right, you're taking the data up, right? Here's 2023. So your data goes up. So again, in the master chart, you're going from out here and going in, right? So it gets faster and faster and faster. Opposite of this, you know, as you go out, the actual speed increases, right, because of revolutions, but the times get wider and wider, and the prices get wider and wider in revolution. So interesting. I use this a lot. I like breaking down specifics. Again, Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of data to go on, but you know, it is what it is. It's what you got to work. You know, it's been around a while now, so I don't think it's quite an institution, right? But at least it's been around 10 years or more. I don't like trading stocks if they don't at least trade 10 years because I don't have the data to, as a technician, to base anything on. Now, the master chart does allow you to do some things where if you're a range trader, it's a little more difficult. Anyway, thank you for your time. Have a great trading week.